Thank you, Professor Amos, for kind introduction and briefing. And thank you to the School of International Studies at Nanyang University offer me the opportunity to be here to exchange views about national security policy, foreign policy of China. And thank you for your coming today. And today my topic is Chinese military reform and the modernization and the Chinese security strategy. I see some young people here, so you may not thought security too much in your daily life, but as we know, like even we focus economic, social development, education, security is always basic, always basic. And though Asia and the world, every country, all the time facing traditional and non-traditional security challenge, including terrorist attack. So how China see those security situation environment, how China should deal with those security challenge is what I'm going to share with you today. And as Professor Amos also mentioned already, Chinese central leadership announced a very big decision to reform Chinese military recently. That's in November, December, the Central Military Commission meeting, and the announced like the plan to change Chinese military, reform Chinese military. This has been planned for years, especially since Mr. Xi Jinping took power 3 years ago. And in my opinion, during the past 36 years reform, China reform changed a lot in countryside, cities, industry, universities. Military is the last institution that the Chinese reform has reached. It's a delayed reform. The reason, my understanding for Chinese leadership to put the military as the last institution engaged tremendous is because they want to maintain stability, and that they depend on the military to maintain national stability. So they did not change earlier. That decision is quite significant because that will change Chinese military system and structure. And later I'm going to say this is the largest, most significant change in military structure system in almost 70 years since the foundation of PRC. And the change we can see from those charter, changing from old to new one. Chinese military as a Chinese other system, which very much show at style. Because when PRC, the People's Republic of China, was founded in 1949, and China basically followed the Soviet model for everything. The Communist Party regime did not know how to govern a country. It's the first time for the party to be ruling party in China. They did not have any experience. So they depend on Soviet Union for advice, for model. So anybody been to Beijing or go to Beijing, you will know Beijing, in Beijing, close to Renmin University, there's a hotel called the Friendship Hotel. Why came to that name? It's the hotel place that the modern soldiers Soviet experts stay in 1950s, advising China to build a new country, including military. So Chinese system, even university system, basically follow Soviet model, and change recent years, decades. So military is the same. So for a long time till now, Chinese military structure system was a Soviet model, and the 4 layers levels, and at the top is the Central Military Commission of the party state as a leader, and then it's 4 generals, staff, general headquarters, general staff, general political department, general logistics department, general equipment department. This is basically Soviet model. Soviet model. There are not a lot of countries or bigger countries have so many general headquarters. Soviet had. Soviet still has some. And on that's the second level is the major service, PLA, Navy, Air Force. Second order, that is strategic missile force, armed police force. And then so far it's 7 military district, military zones. Also that's a Soviet model. Soviet model. And then it's troops. So those are the system and the structure of Chinese military for about 70 years from Soviet model. And the Chinese leaders and Chinese people, the Soviet model is an old model. It's not a modern model. It's an inefficient model. It's too many layers, too much bureaucracy within military. It's very inefficient. It's not good, ready for fighting, for war. Military is, in every country, military is for something worst. For modern time in 21st century. So China must change that. After China reforming, changing all other sectors in the country, countryside, city, university, companies, government organizations. So that's the old model. And the decision to change is try to shift into new model, new system. Some have been announced, some are going to be announced soon. Like the Central Military Commission is still the leader of the Chinese military. And then within the commission, there will be a number of smaller departments and committees, agencies, including those 4 general quarters will be abolished and turn into a smaller department within CMC. Joint Staff Headquarters will become joint staff, much smaller. The rule is much more lower. It's just serve as secondary departments, internal organization of Central Military Commission. And under the CMC, there will be a second level of commander-in-chief in China. That is those service army. This is the first time PRC has an army headquarters. It's strange enough, in 70 years almost, China is a bigger country without the army headquarters. Why? Because the Chinese army was so strong. It did not need a headquarters. It had the 7 military zones. Or in other words, China so far, until now, had 7 army headquarters. Each military zone is equal with the Navy, Air Force, strategic force. So since they have 7 same level army headquarters with the Navy, with the Air Force, they do not need army headquarters. Now they want to shrink. They want to reduce the size of army. Then they establish as other country army ground force headquarters. So the purpose is not to strengthen army ground force, it's to weaken the ground force. Because now in China we know there's nobody going to have a larger scale ground war with China anymore. The Second World War style, a larger invasion. Which country is going to invade China at a larger scale? None. So there's no possibility for China to in the future to fight in larger ground war with anybody. So we do not need so much ground force. So we established new army headquarters in order to reduce the army ground force. Navy is the same, Air Force is the same. I served in Chinese Air Force for 8 years, many years ago. And the Second Artillery Force now changed name is Rocket Force. It's a Chinese strategic force, including nuclear weapons, missiles, and the strategic bombers. And at this time, China established a new service called Strategic Support Force. This is quite new in the world. Besides China, you look at other military structures, no other militaries so far has such a level of strategic supporting force. US, Russia, Japan, Australia may have a small unit commander of strategic force, but not as equal level or size as Navy, Army, and Air Force. China going to have. China is already have. Started to have. What is a strategic force? Chinese government has not given out the public description. My understanding, analysis, that's including communication, intelligence, internet, cybersecurity, and space, and the special action force. Those is quite new. So that, from here, Xi Jinping's mind is quite flexible. It's quite modern. He can think of that kind of force, organize that kind of modern force that no other bigger country so far has. It's quite a future-looking, future-oriented, high-tech oriented, non-traditional war affairs oriented. So that's just a major service. And the armed police. Armed police force is very much about the internal stability. It's not quite the military. It does not have a mission to dealing with the foreign countries. And the 7 military zone now will be shifted to 5 major zones. It has not been announcement, but there's a lot of discussion. So going to be announced soon. And are translated as war zone. It's a straight translation from Chinese, 战区, so-called. Might not be good translation. So we should follow the official translation in future when be announced. 战区 straight translation is a war zone. Can be a command, like US, Pacific Command, Southern Command. So might be that kind of translation. So we reduce from 7 to 5. That is Western China, Northern China, Eastern China, Southern China, and Central. So that is a level of major service and military zones, and then its troops. And the principle that the new plan giving that waging this new structure system, that the Central Military Commission is the serve as leadership, and the major services serve as the maintenance, development agencies, and the war zones or commanders serve as operating agencies. In Chinese, the government called the new system is 军委主导、军种组建 战区主战。CMC is responsible for leadership. The service is responsible for developing, maintains troops. And war zones is responsible for fighting, for operation, for training, for military exercise. Those are actions. It's from, if you understand, my Chinese is quite precise. The idea is very clear. The structure, the system, the division of labor, responsibility is very clear. So this is how significant is this change and reform. As I said already, this is the first systematic structural change in Chinese military almost 70 years since 1949. In the past, the Chinese military reform is very much about the quantity, like the size reduction. Like Deng Xiaoping, when Deng Xiaoping was in power, China cut off 1 million military troops in 1985. Great arms reduction. And later years, Jiang Zemin engaged twice military reduction. One is 500,000. The other one is 200 million. So in those 30-something years of Chinese reform, the military change is very much about size. It's not about the structural system. This time is about the system and the structure, commander control system and the structure of Chinese military force. Second significance, this is my analysis, not an official statement. That is saved from the Soviet, I think it's a backward model to American modern model. You look at American military is president control through Department of Defense. Then it's service and command. Then it's troops. So I see, since I'm a student of American politics or policy, try to put the Chinese thinking into American model. And the purpose of this reform is to increase Chinese military war fighting capacity, efficiency, and mobility. Modern military means capacity, efficiency, and mobility, reducing the layers, bureaucracies, official corps, changing structure, reducing the army, stressing the Navy, Air Force, strategic force, and strategic supporting force. So this time also come with the arms reduction that the President Xi announced last September in military parade in Beijing. That China now is going to reduce military by 300,000 soldiers. And the reduction now is going on. It's very much about the army, about the official corps. Try to reduce the bureaucracy, military bureaucracy, reduce the army, and strengthen troops, strengthen Air Force, Navy, strategic force, and other modern force that need for 21st century. Chinese military reform is a part of defense modernization. It's a command control system modernization. And the Chinese military modernization is going on. It's draw a lot of attention in Asia, in the world. Singapore may not care too much about the Chinese military modernization. Singapore is relatively small and far away from China. But the immediate Chinese neighbors worry a lot about Chinese military modernization. Japan, Korea, Vietnam, India, even Russia, US. Because that process is going on very much. military modernization. For we Chinese, this is normal. China is modernized. Modernizing country is certainly modernizing everything. Agriculture, industry, technology, education, medical care, environment, including military. So there's nothing wrong for China to modernize its military. It's a normal process for modernizing military. And the Chinese military modernization involves a lot of capacity development, weaponry development, including the defense spending. For past 20 years, Chinese military spending has been double-digit growth every year. Last year, military budget increased 10%. Even Chinese military, Chinese economy is slowing down, but the Chinese military spending has not been slowing down. I don't know this year. In early March, Chinese People's Congress will approve this year's budget for Chinese government in military. Let's wait and see whether this year Chinese defense budget will be single-digit growth or not. But for the past years, every year was double-digit growth, including last year. Last year, China GDP grew 6.7%. Defense budget grew 10%. And we in China feel this is necessary. China still is a developing country. Its military is still developing military. We need to strengthen our military. So Chinese military spending is already second largest in the world. Last year, if you follow the numbers, America is still the largest military spending country in the world, $700 billion US dollars. American, one country, spends half of the whole world military budget, 700 million, 100 billion. China is 441 billion, second largest. Russia was the third largest, 75 billion. Saudi Arabia is fifth, is 60 billion. Japan, Saudi Arabia fourth, Japan is fifth. Japan is 55 billion. So Chinese military spending in Asia now is almost as 3 times as Japan. So that's the reason Japanese, including Japanese Prime Minister Mr. Abe, do not accept the Chinese criticism that Japan is becoming remilitarized. Prime Minister Abe spoke at the UN Assembly 2 years ago that China spent much more military than Japan. And the Chinese defense modernization is quite a comprehensive modernization. Involves tremendous number of new weaponry development, ships, planes, missiles, electronic, space weaponry, and others. So with that kind of process, defense modernization going on, it's possible that the Chinese military capacity is going to overpass Japan in 5 years. Now, Chinese overall military capacity is larger than Japan. Ground force, number of ships, number of fighters, warplanes, missiles, nuclear weapons. But in Navy and Air Force, the quality of the capacity China is not equal with Japan. Japan is still, it's our assessment. I don't know the global assessment. Now, our assessment, overall Chinese military strength is bigger than Japan. But the Navy or Air Force, are not as strong as Japan because of quality. Japanese ships, Japanese war planes are much better than Chinese because most of them are from U.S. But within that process, Chinese modernization is likely, even in the areas of Navy Air Force capacity, China is going to overpass Japan in future 5 years. The significance is that this might be first time in 150 years of history since Meiji restoration of Japan in 1868, that the Chinese military is stronger than Japan again. So this is quite significant in the balance of power between China and Japan in history, in the Asia-Pacific. Military balance of power in Asia-Pacific. And the process, going on process, we get a much closer like the Chinese military capacity with the U.S. in the West Pacific. Like normally U.S. deployed in West Pacific Navy airplanes and others missiles. So we get much closer. I'm not sure we'll be balanced or equal with the U.S. military force in West normally deployed in 5 years, but pretty sure would get much more closer. So that make China, a Chinese military, much more able to protect the interest of Chinese security, especially in East, South China Sea, and Taiwan. Like the trouble areas China see today and in future, that might involve the Chinese military. Then let me already come to Chinese security strategy. Because for countries, including bigger countries, military development reform is for the strategic purpose, national security. And those Chinese military modernization reform, in order to enhance Chinese security capacity, and Chinese security military strategy is still active defense. Last May, Chinese government published defense white paper, most of the recently Chinese defense white paper, called Chinese military strategy. And that documents clearly state that the Chinese security military strategy is still active defense. What does that mean? This term has been Chinese military security strategy for decades. What does that mean? That means Chinese security interests, Chinese military mission modernization is only for the purpose of Chinese national defense. It has nothing to do to defend other countries. So Chinese military development, the goal, purpose, mission, is only defending China. Not has any responsibility for others. So this is still the Chinese national security military strategy. This is different from other major countries. If you follow American military security strategy, American strategy security try to defend the whole world, including Singapore. Including alliance or non-alliance, the whole world order. That is not a Chinese military security goal. Russian strategy, security strategy, at least want to defend Russia and the areas immediately surrounding Russia, former Soviet Union. That's reason Russian took action in Ukraine. And Russia still maintain military force, military bases in Central Asia. That's the reason, part of the reason why Russia so far does heavily in Syria, Middle East. But now Russians still have a thinking mission to defend some areas, not only Russia, but the surrounding Russia, at least. And the new Japanese security bills passed last summer, also saying Japanese military mission is work with the U.S. not only defend Japan, but defend the issues, areas has a relation impact of Japan's security, including South China Sea, including Korea Peninsula, including Middle East, sea-link communication from Middle East to Japan. So compared with the other bigger countries, China, at least in its strategic doctrine, security defense doctrine, its mission is only defending China. So active defense means this. Because the Chinese national priority is still modernization, internal development. China so far does not have a strong interest abroad. I mean strong security, strategic interest. China has a strong interest in commercial, economic area everywhere in the world. China is already a global power in terms of economy. But China is not a global power, including politics, security, strategy. And so far, China does not want to become a global power of security, politics, and strategy. So what happened in the Middle East, China worried, but China would not do something significant. What happened in Thailand 2 years ago, chaotic situation. China watched carefully, but would not do anything. Even Thailand is closer geography to China. So that indicates Chinese national priority strategy is still inside China, not outside China. So military security strategy is following that national strategy. So my definition of China today, China is a world power, but China is not a global power. World power means the size. Chinese population, geographic, economic. It's world class for the class. But China does not want to have influence role in every corner of the world. That is a global power. Want to have a role to play influence on every corner of the world, on every issue in the world. That is the U.S. today, Western countries. China does not want. So Chinese security interests is very much, security strategy is identification of your security location, your security interest. I see Chinese security interests are still internal. Basically internal. I use the mark. It's not 100% internal, but it's basically internal. And what the Chinese government, Chinese leadership, Chinese people worry when they think about Chinese national security, it's basically 3 threats. Security is about the threat perception of the country. That is the foundation, and how to deal with it. For China today and the future, there are 3 major threats to Chinese national security, unity, territory integrity. The first is Taiwan independence. That is the largest threat for China in the past, today, and future, because that is directly involved with national sovereignty, national unity. And the dangers of Taiwan independence, in my words, I think in Chinese government words the same. The Taiwan issue is the only issue might cause China engage a major war with somebody now in the future, with Taiwan and with the US. Besides Taiwan, we in China do not imagine any other situation that might engage a major war between China and others in Asia and the world. Might be conflicts, incidents, but no major war going to be happen between China and anybody except the Taiwan situation. But I'm saying that does not mean that it's too dangerous, because I see cross-Taiwan Strait relation basically it's a political, economic, social issue. It's not a military issue. So how to prevent that dangerous situation is lie at the political, economic, social, cultural relationship across the Taiwan Strait. So I'm confident that the two sides can manage their difference through political, social, economic engagement, through U.S.-China relation on one China. You see Secretary Kerry words yesterday when talking with Xi Jinping, Wang Yi about Taiwan. U.S. formally follow one China policy through communique. So as long as that going on, Taiwan situation, the danger is just in theory. It's not quite real. Military is about something worse. Politics is trying to get something better or best. Xinjiang's second major threat to Chinese national security is Xinjiang terrorists, separation, terrorists, extremists combined together. Last year was better. There was only one serious event, like the killing number of people in Xinjiang. The year before last couple of years, each year, they were about 8 or 10 times. Like each time killing more than number, even dozens of people. Territory events, including July 5, 2009, Urumqi situation. One night killing 200 people, wounded 700 people alone one day. So as we see the whole world last year, terrorism still on the terrorist attack, still on the rising side. Same in China. So how to counter this threat is a serious work for every country in the world. Third one, threat China perceive for national security is about the Diaoyu Island and South China Sea. Here, Diaoyu Island, the dispute between Japan and China are much more stable. Persian Sea, Japan, China, in recent years are quite mature in dealing with their territorial disputes on Diaoyu Island. Their engagement to Coast Guard ships engage each other once every week, every 10 days, including yesterday, 4 Chinese Coast Guard ships were in Diaoyu Island waters. But for the 3 years, 2 countries engaged peacefully in the dispute. There was no incident happening. There was no threat from each side going to use military force. So I see those 2 Asian big countries manage their terror disputes sophisticatedly. Is very good. But South China Sea is much more dangerous. here dangerous I see is not a possibility for military clash between China and Vietnam or Philippines. I don't think it's likely because nobody wants it. But I see danger like the incidents clash between U.S. and China might be happening now and in the future years. Because China and U.S. already have had those incidents in the past decades. Taiwan crisis in 1996, U.S. sent 2 aircraft carriers group closer to Taiwan. It's a military showdown between China and the U.S. 1999, embassy bombing. 2001, EP3 incidents. So if you recall the history, recent history, U.S.-China relations, they have already couple of times like military showdown incidents between two countries. Not to say other situations like the ship supplies follow each other closely. So this is likely when Americans continue to engage so-called freedom of navigation passage in South China Sea, and China would counter that. And China's defense policy, security policy, is still dependent on its national strategy, foreign policy. And the Chinese foreign policy is still non-alliance, non-interference into internal affairs of other countries. So this is a basic principle of Chinese foreign security policy. That's the reason Chinese defense is focused on national defense, not on other countries. Because China, non-alliance foreign policy means China does not have any responsibility to protect others, including North Korea. China does not have responsibility, commitment to defend any other country in the world. China only has responsibility to defend China itself. So we have no legal, political security obligation to defend any other. So that's the reason 3 years ago I was in Seoul, gave a lecture like that. I said, if in future situation, war situation between North Korea and others, even North Korea is attacked by US or South Korea, China would not go to North Korea help again. My government never criticized my statement. So even I made like a bold statement, like the news media reported, China, Korea, and I have no trouble from government for that statement. So, and a lot of people worry that since China is growing, Chinese interest is enlarging in Asian world. China needs and must have a strategy to protect overseas Chinese interests, including sea link communication, including passing Singapore Strait. A lot of Chinese ships passing here. I don't think so. I don't think China has so far has like a strategic goal to use military force to protect overseas interests, including investment, workers there, to protect sea link communication. My understanding of international relations, world history, I see no country in the world has the capacity to protect all its overseas interests, I mean commercial interests, to protect every part of sea link communication, because it's impossible. I talk with U.S. Navy officials, commander U.S. Pentagon officials. Does U.S. have like a strategy to protect the sea link communication everywhere in the world? Does Japan, does European, Russia has? You see in history, when these incidents happening about overseas investment, personal countries tend to rely on diplomatic, political, social means to protect its interests and the people. Seldom use force, military force. So I don't think China is and going to have that kind of strategy to, as many people believe, to protect its growing overseas interests and presence. I think I already used a lot more time than should, so let me stop here. And I would like to hear your comments, your questions, your ideas about that subject or other subject related to China that interest us. Thank you. Okay.